Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Seneca County Commissioner meeting, Thursday, February 24th. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Commissioner Kirsch, prayer please.
Okay, please join me in a short prayer. Heavenly Father, with the events in Europe today, we ask for your guidance. We ask for your intercession in assisting those people who are in harm's way. We ask that you protect all the troops. We ask in a special way that you protect all those folks that are defending our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen.
Okay, thank you. So we have a full day today, or at least morning. We'll stick to the agenda. We'll have executive session towards the end of the meeting. We'll have public comment, then we'll go into executive session to discuss property acquisitions. We will probably not take action. There won't be any action to report back out. We'll take a little bit of a break, and then we'll go right into our 11 o'clock work session. So I see, Sheriff, you're part of that, so we'll try to keep things moving. And we'll start with you, Tasha, the wellness. Is Ginger here?
Yep, she is.
Yeah, there you are. I didn't see you. Okay, come on up. So, just for the record, please state your name and what you're here for. We're trying to do that a little bit for the recording and for the viewers. Thank you.
Oh. I'm Ginger Mack. I work at Job and Family Services, and Tasha and I coordinate on the Seneca County Wellness Program.
Welcome.
Hey, thank you for introducing me. So I gave handouts of our current portal for the wellness program for Seneca County employees. It has changed a little bit this year. But the main goal is still the same. So we want to provide our employees with wellness and fitness, keep them engaged, aware of their physical and mental health, and encourage a healthy lifestyle. One of the positives of the new change this year in our program is Section 3 on the back, local community activities. This allows our county to put in activities that we want to see our employees do. And we worked with the Seneca County Park District this year.
Yeah.
We've been advertising their website so people are more aware of what the community offers in Seneca County as far as parks, walks, and different projects. We added, they do a really cool scavenger hunt where you go around, they do one a month, and it's birds or nature, rivers, waterways, things like that in Seneca County. So we've added that into our program just to get people more involved in some other county departments. We're currently doing free fitness classes for all employees and spouses. Monday nights we're doing yoga and cardio, and Thursday nights we're doing weightlifting. Once again, these are free. They're out at the fitness barn behind Job and Family Services. We actually had to add a class each night because we had so many people sign up, so I guess that's a good problem to have. Last year we had 80 individuals complete the program. This includes employees and spouses, and with some of the restrictions we had with COVID and in-person things, we tried to do a lot of things virtually to, so people could still gain their points for the program. So in the past, the board has graciously allowed our county to do extra wellness points, and this allows the participants to go above and beyond the original points in the portal to receive extra premium differential reductions in your insurance. Last year we had 23 employees complete what we called the 900 point level, and 29 employees complete the max level of 1,200 points. So this is 52 out of 80 employees did extra points last year, which is 65% of our employees. To stay consistent, we revamped the extra point sheet, which I've also included in the back. This is what people fill out to turn into me when they're doing above and beyond what's on the portal. So we're here to request that this be approved again to roll out this extra incentive piece to our employees and spouses for this current wellness program here.
Nice job, good job. And this will go back to October, retro back.
It's August, retro back to August. Yes.
And employees can save between $300 and $1,400 a year, depending on what insurance level they're at, and then depending on what area level they complete the extra points.
Yeah,
So
and
it can be a huge savings for
and
people.
we've discussed this in the insurance committee. The money, so
Correct.
it's all baked in there, so,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct. And we recently just had a biometric screening. In
Mhm.
February, we had 4 events. They were very well attended, so that's positive because it helps prevention
Oh,
with diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol. So I'm glad to see the employees are taking advantage of that.
so do we need a motion to, for this, Stacy?
Well,
Or do we just need a
if you
blessing?
guys are good with it, I'll draft the resolution for next week. Are we doing the same amounts for the,
Discount.
okay,
So the premium,
premium?
so if you work for the county and you're involved in this, you get a discount on your portion of your health insurance premium, which is, it's awesome, I think. So we'll move forward with that. I do have a question. We're gonna talk at 11 o'clock about capital needs. Give us a 1 minute explanation of the fitness barn and then what you would like to see out there in bathrooms and maybe a shower, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I would personally, I want to talk about it today, and so it's perfect that you're here.
Okay, right
Okay?
now?
Yeah, I
Okay.
love it, yeah, please.
So behind the Job and Family Services, it's a pole barn. We've converted it into a fitness facility. It has weight equipment. We do yoga, meditation, drumming classes. It's for all county employees and spouses and children, actually. We have them sign waivers before they come out. They get a 24-hour fob access. And there are no restrooms out there. If they come, people come during hours, they can come into our building and use the restroom, but there's no restrooms. Some people are asking for showers because they come before work. I know people from the engineers department come before work and work out and they want to shower before they go to work. So I think that's on
On our list.
the request.
Is
to
this
put in.
number that's on our list a guesstimate, or did you get prices for that? It's 20, what was it?
We did not.
We're just guessing.
Just because contractors are so busy.
Yeah.
And we didn't know how soon we would roll this out. We didn't want to, bring a contractor in and then a year later, they're gonna have to come in and give us a rebid on it. So we suggested we'll do a guesstimate of what the projects would cost, and if it was something that you guys thought, we would go get estimates for approval.
Okay, so I have no other questions. Any other questions?
Same stuff.
We good? Okay, we'll move things forward.
Well, thank you for your
and
time.
formally adopt that, and we'll talk about your project later.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good job. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Keep those emails coming. Commission of Aging. Come on up, Mr. Clever. Please introduce yourself, and so the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you.
Okay?
My name is Brian Glover. I'm the Executive Director of the Seneca County Commission on Aging. The proposal request that you have before you today is to place our senior levy here in Seneca County back on the ballot before the vote, or on the ballot before the voters in November. Under Ohio law, it's required to be placed before the voters every 5 years, whether we like it or not. So we're at that point again. The levy itself was first placed by petition in 1999, and we've been renewed every year since then with an overwhelming, I think 70% was the lowest we've ever taken that vote. The reason for this levy is some of the programs we work with require a local match on this end. Our levy is about 3/10 of 1 mil, and it is a relatively small amount, about $320,000, give or take, for the year. With that, we are able to operate all our programs. It's really a foundation from which we build. Our goal from a fiscal standpoint is not to rely on the levy as our stream of revenue, but rather to use that as a foundation and build from that. Just to give you an example, of our total budget, which is about just a little over $2 million right now, that makes up less than 15%. Of the other monies we draw in, all of the services we provide are what are called POS services, purchase of service, meaning we don't deliver the service, we don't get any reimbursement for it. So we don't just get a big check at the beginning of the year from the state and they say, hey, run your services. We earn every single bit of it. Our nutrition services, our Meals on Wheels here in Seneca County are our biggest service. Last year alone, we served over 266,000 meals, all of which were,
That's unbelievable.
isn't that crazy?
260.
We have 1,000 meals a day going out of there for Seneca. We also provide hot meal service for Wyandotte. Who else, Chrissy? Morrow and Marion County, and we provide frozen meal service once a week for Richland County. And then we service 19 other counties through Medicaid throughout the area. The reason we do that is because we want to draw that revenue back into Seneca County and make sure that we can keep that 0.3 of 1 mil. It's been like that for 20-some years. That's the whole idea. It's not that that is our primary source of funding, but that's the base from which we build. And I think we've done a very good job of that over the last 20-some years. Just a couple other things to point out. Our nutrition services are not just in Seneca County. Other counties who do not have, I know you guys go to Columbus a lot with the County Commissioners Association and things like that. You never have to hang your head when it comes to talking about senior services in Seneca County. We have done our very best to make sure that seniors in Seneca County are well taken care of. During the pandemic, we closed 0 days. We missed 0 meals. In fact, a lot of other counties who were forced to close or did close for one reason or another contacted us, and we were able to provide meals to their seniors from Seneca County. Weather. I couldn't tell you 5 times in the last 10 years we've closed because of weather. It's got to be extremely bad. In fact, there are other counties that are closing today and tomorrow. Am I correct, Chrissy? Tomorrow already, and we haven't seen one, one snowflake hit the ground yet, and they're already closing, and they're calling us.
It's like when we were kids,
to be able to
never closed.
Yeah, you never closed.
We went to school.
And they hate me at work too. Like, geez, come on.
God bless you.
We want to sleep. Well, you know what? That's just it. Yeah. The reason we've been as successful as we have is because we have amazing people. There are 32 full and part-time staff that work for the Commission on Aging, and to a person, we have amazing people out there who go above and beyond. And when the other counties, we have a neighboring county that if they even hint of snow, they're closing it down. They're shutting it down. And last year, the 1st of January, the first 30 days, they were closed more days than they were open. People they still need to eat. They still need, if they're the only meal they're getting that day, they need to be able to count on you. And so that's what we've been able to do here in Seneca. So it is that time of year again, or that time again where we have to put it before the voters.
What's the process from today until the vote?
Once
it needs to happen.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It is a process. Up until this point, I think the prosecutor's office should have already sent you a draft of the resolution. Mm-hmm. Once that is approved by you, it will go to the Board of Elections. From the Board of Elections, it goes to Secretary of State. Secretary of State back to the Board of Elections. All this leading up to November. And then it's my responsibility to make sure that the voters are aware that it's out there and the benefits to Seneca County.
Good. Thank you. Questions?
Any questions?
Just thanks for your hard work. Thanks for all the board members and volunteers.
We have an amazing board. I work with other counties as well, and I see if you don't have a solid board, you might as well not even go in. It's that crucial to have good people you work with. Brian Cooper's been our board president for over 20 years.
Well, just another example of some great people who volunteering their time.
Yes, absolutely. Every week or every month they're there and helping us steer the ship in the right direction, getting a lot of things done.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. So, can we do this now?
Yeah, sure, Brian.
Please, we're going to, Brian, we're going to go ahead and read the resolution and act, okay?
Okay,
Yep,
fantastic.
Stacy.
The resolution declaring the necessity for levy of taxes in excess of 10 mil limitations according to Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.192, 5705.19Y, and 5705.25. Obviously, an attorney put this together, so that's what I have.
Okay, so Commissioner Kirschner will entertain a motion.
I will certainly move to allow the levy to be placed on the ballot.
I'll second that motion.
Kylie, roll call?
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes.
We are moving right along, so we'll go into our county administrator. Well, let's do the minutes. I skipped that, didn't I?
Yes.
Skip-
Time out first.
Yeah, we didn't do roll call at the beginning.
We didn't, okay, so we're gonna backtrack a little bit and make this official meeting.
Not as
Roll
easy
call,
as it
please.
looks, is it?
No. Here. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Schuff,
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Here.
And we're gonna retro that back to the beginning of the meeting, Jimmy.
I'll move for approval of the previous minutes from our last board meeting of February 10th,
I'll second.
In February 17th.
17th.
Yeah. Got it. So,
And 17th,
okay, roll call.
Commissioner Kirschner,
okay. Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. So Adam, when you screw up, you just kind of go with it, right?
Go with it. I like it.
Okay. Now, we'll move into the county administrator's report.
I don't have anything today. We've got a lot for the capital.
You
so-
saving it for 11?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner's report. Mr. Schuff.
Had a report here, my computer just croaked here just about 5 minutes ago, but I'm gonna go off memory here best I can. We have our TSIP annual meeting tonight, and that's at Camden Falls. Also this last week, Jimmy Flint and I, we got to go out to Bascom to help the individuals out there with a splash of love from home. What they do is they pack together military packages for our troops overseas in various countries. I think they've sent them out to Japan, Germany, portions of Africa, and basically throughout the world, but what was it, Jimmy? Did we do 90 or 100 boxes?
Yeah, it was a new record for them, so, in one day for packing boxes, so.
Okay, and it was an impressive little operation. I mean, it's some of the small things you take for granted sometimes. I mean, whether it's a fresh pair of socks or some toothpaste, or there's even like some Taco Bell sauces in there and some toiletries. I mean, just the most random things you would think of that you kind of take for granted every day. Send these packages out to our people protecting our freedoms, and they just, hopefully it raises their spirits and helps them out a little bit. Also, we had a land bank meeting here this week. Everything going very smooth in there. And then also, do you want to cover mental health board when we go there for last week, or?
You can. Go ahead.
So last week we had a mental health and recovery services board out there, the NCEOS, correct?
NCOESC.
I knew I was missing a letter there.
North Central Ohio Educational Service Center.
Thank you. I missed one hand. Like to buy a vowel.
Yeah.
And that was a really good meeting. We had local leadership here from throughout the county, some of the judges there. We selected Mirchal Handro to represent District 17, so I think we're going to be really well represented as far as he goes, and his passion for the community and just his depth of knowledge of what he has. Also, let's see here. Here's all I had. Oh, we're having a meeting here today, be at noon, but meeting with some of our local law enforcement officers, the city, police chiefs, the sheriff, the mayor, a few other folks, but we're going to discuss possibly reviving or looking into the possibility of reviving the DARE program. Basically, this is a brainstorming session. We haven't seen the DARE program in Seneca County for, what would that be, Sheriff, over 20 years, 30 years? Fred?
What's that? I'm sorry.
When's the last time we had the DARE program? 20, 30 years ago?
It ended under Chief LaGrange in probably early 2000s.
Okay.
Jan Fabian and Tiffin, Paulie, Julie Heinlein, myself were all DARE officers in the 90s. So I think it was around 2001, 2002, with budget cuts and stuff. It could even be 2005 that with the budget cuts and stuff that the city had, that ended that program.
So we're meeting on that later today just to see if there's a possibility of getting that together. I think we can make a strong argument looking at the
drug situation, not just here locally, but throughout the country, throughout the state. Was the DARE program effective? Was it not? But we're going to discuss some of those things, and if it's possible to use some of this opioid settlement money or to do something productive with it to educate our youth and teach them about the dangers of drugs, I think it's at least worth exploring. So we're meeting on that today. So keep the public informed on how that goes. But that's all I have for now.
That's all. Busy week.
Yeah, if you're able to, it'd be good to get that established, because as you guys know,
Good job.
the opioid settlement money goes directly to an established group, right? So it'd be good to have that up and running if you're able to get it done. For my part, Commissioner, for my part, we continue to have some discussions, kind of a steering committee, as it relates to the possibility of renovating what's now known as the East Tower into offices for the recorder, treasurer, and auditor, and possibly some other things. So those discussions are ongoing. We're actually going to put together, we kind of have a steering committee put together that consists of both mayors and Senator Reineke, a representative from Jim Jordan's office, Gary Click, our state rep, amongst other folks. So, you know, we want to get some drawings put together. We are appraising the corner of South Washington and Market Street to come up with a number. The city has an interest in potentially purchasing that building and turning it into something other than what it is now. So we're going to have some artist renderings, but it's an ongoing process. It could be significant as far as the face of downtown Tiffin goes. It's truly transformational, but you know, there's no assurance that this is going to happen. This is kind of an exploratory conversation. Right now, we have a willing owner of the building. We have the commissioners are willing to discuss it. The city's willing to discuss it, and the state folks, as well as the federal folks, are looking for some additional funds to help us get that done if possible. We have a one-time influx of money, if you will. This is obviously I've said this more than once, that the money that we have is a one-time influx. We need to use it on one-time projects as opposed to causing us any additional cost into the future. So more to come. We'll have some artist renderings and we'll have some conversations about it to see how far down the road we can get with it.
Okay, good. Anything else?
That's enough for now. We've got enough today.
Yeah. A few things here. Not in any order. Stacy and I had the opportunity to attend the museum board meeting last night, and you know, I have to compliment them, the foundation, for what they've done at the museum. If you haven't been there, you know, they've just done a great job of cleaning it up and etc. They did present the volunteer hours. This is what struck me, since we're, Mr. Glover, we're in the volunteer, we recognize all these great people in our county that give back to where we live. At the museum, there was, just in volunteer hours, there was almost 2,900 volunteer hours put in last year, plus Teresa's part-time 1,040-hour job that went into the museum. And then they all chuckled as this was presented to us. Your mother was there. A lot of times they forget to write the hours down. You volunteer, you just come and do things. So
Every time I've been
pretty
there,
impressive. Pretty
Sue
impressive.
Smith has been on her knees cleaning up a cabinet or something.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, Stacy, you want to add anything? I mean, we'll talk about some capital needs in our 11 o'clock meeting. We'll bring that up. You know, the county owns that building and it needs some attention. So, so that's the museum. We had the airport. We had a meeting with the airport yesterday. We all were here. Pretty exciting. Simplified. Seneca County will receive an additional $159,000 a year for 5 years for the airport under the, I'm going to call it infrastructure money. I think that was the name that was used. We also received $400,000 from ODOT, plus or minus, to pay for all new runway lights that have been there since 1968. These will be all new LED lights. and just really a good update on what's happened to the airport. It wasn't too long ago, it was a little stressful in here with the taxiway and how we had problems and where's the extra money going to come, and just like that, it's kind of turned around, so it's positive.
Very good leadership out there.
Yeah, Brad does a great job. Kylie, you good? Anything to add, Kat? She kind of handles things for us. On the EMS front, we had a meeting, we've set the first Thursday of the month ongoing for a countywide EMS meeting out at NCOESC. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we have a scheduled meeting for this coming Thursday, the 3rd. And speaking with the 16 entities that are meeting on their own, they would like to postpone that. And I think for good reason. They had a meeting set in January, and the sheriff called a level 3, so they couldn't deliver the food, but they had to call off the meeting. So they called off that meeting. Then they had a meeting, and then they were going to meet last Thursday, and the sleet came, and they called off that meeting. So they're trying to get 16 people together, groups together, and they're trying to really talk.
I should have called the senior center.
That's what I was thinking. They would have showed up. So, in fairness to the process, and I appreciate what they're trying to do. They've asked if they would like to use that night to meet on their own, and they've asked if we could just show up on the scheduled meeting on April 7th. I'm okay with that. I just would like to just make sure everybody's good with it. And
As long as you keep moving down the road. Yeah.
I think we're making some progress. Yes, we are, for sure. I did attend a meeting last night at what I call AVR Bloom Scipio, Attica Venice Reed, Bloom Scipio, Bloomville Republic. They've all merged. They're going to change their name, till the levy passes or future notice, but they're going to go by, and I wrote this down. Ken, they texted it to me.
Not more initials.
Eastern Seneca EMS. And I like that. I think it's a step forward on breaking down the barriers of I'm from Attica and I'm from Bloomville and I'm from, we know how that goes. So they continue to, they have their moments, but we all do. And I'm just glad they meet and they keep trying to bring that together. And then the reason I went was to present the news that last week, and we're going to take action in a little bit, that we set aside $750,000 to put a building up out there. And they're very grateful for that. It will create a lot of efficiencies. It'll centralize. I'm looking at the sheriff because he understands the 911. Attica, Bloomville Republic, it'll be right in the middle. It'll be one station. It'll create efficiencies, and it'll really serve those citizens out there. And it will also, as Commissioner Kirschner said many times, it can be used as a beta center or pilot for us to kind of figure out what one of these is going to look like and how it can function and that kind of thing. So we're moving forward with that one while we have discussions on the bigger picture and a levy and all that. So that was from last night, and that's really all I have for now. So we'll take a look. It's 10:30. Stace, you want to go into any old business?
Just one comment about the airport. We are extremely lucky in Seneca County. FAA has been down here a number of times, and without saying it exactly, this is probably according to them, the best run airport in Ohio for a small,
real happy
for a small county. I mean, everything is always in good shape, and the repairs are always taken care of, and they feel very confident. And therefore, we've been able to get some grant money and some additional money because of the fact that it's been so well maintained throughout the time. If you look around, you guys have all driven past airports in the countryside, and you'll know that Tippin Seneca is by far and away a shining star.
We could have, instead of Meals on Wheels, we could have Meals on Wheels. Come up with, go out there and Brad will fly you to.
Always looking to expand.
Yeah, expand. I do, so Kayla's here from the Advertiser Tribune in the front row, and you replaced Alexa.
Yep.
And thank you for coming. She will be covering, so tell us a little bit, are you overseeing all the political, the city of Tiffin, you know?
I don't think so, yeah. I'm
Okay,
mostly
but
just
the
with the
commissioners.
county, yeah.
Okay, so you're assigned to us. Welcome, thanks for.
So you got the good assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, good.
And thank you, I just wanted to introduce you. Okay, new business.
Okay, there are quite a few to go through. So I have a request from the sheriff's office for their TCAP fund, an additional $1,039.80 into their contract service line. I have a supplemental appropriation request from the sheriff's office. This is for their prisoner medical, $19,947.26. Is that part of the the grant they got from Mental Health and Recovery Services? I have a supplemental appropriation request from the sheriff's office. What's the 1181 account? Find it.
2687.
Yeah, it's got it down as, what's the 1181 fund?
Justice, mental health,
Okay,
collaboration.
okay. So the total for that would be $26,878.02. And I have a request, and these are kind of in a little out of order, but we'll go ahead and do these according to what I have on my screen. So we're doing a supplemental appropriation into our capital improvement line for, we just named the line Southeast EMS Station. This is the follow-up from the meeting from last week where you guys had
Good.
wanted to put $750,000 in place for that building. So that is what that one's for. Next I have supplemental appropriation into our contract services line. This is for $90,000. These are those 3 separate contracts, actually 4 separate contracts for the broadband study with DLZ, the Ice Miller, the COG, and I don't remember what the third or the fourth one was called. Ice Miller. Ice Miller?
Thomas Miller?
Yeah, Thomas
TPM.
Miller. Yeah, TPM. Yep. And then I have a supplemental appropriation to put into our contract service line. This again was discussed last week to do a partial appraisal. City of Tiffin's covering half of it. So we're going to do $1,000 into the contract service line. I have, to get the money into the capital improvement line, we have to put $750,000 into the general funds transfers out line. So that's what the next one is for. I have a request from the Common Pleas for $1,380.51 into their contract services line. They need to pay attorney for ATP services for the Pivot program. I have a request from Regional Planning, an additional $6,500 into the salary lines for the OCJS grant for hazard pay, and then $4,646.60 into equipment, and $703.79 into the software licensing. And again, this is for the OCJS reimbursement. There was various offices that got part of a reimbursement for some laptops for the Zoom calls. So this was the grant that I think we initially started in 2020. My next one is from the Juvenile Probate Court. They need an additional $20,859.08 into their equipment line. This is for the purchase of breathalyzers and tasers. I have a request again from Juvenile Probate Court, an additional $280 into their Medicare line. As we all know, we have Teresa and Beth retiring, so this is the Medicare section to pay out for the court administrator and the juvenile chief deputy clerk. Next one is from juvenile probate court. This is the salaries for the payout for the retirement of the court administrator. The salary line $18,778.32. Next one is at the request of juvenile probate court. A lot of the non-general funds needed to get me the additional, if they had money available to do the 2% or the 1% bonuses and the 2% raise. I asked the non-generals to submit them themselves, so not all those were done. So this is what this one was for.
Okay.
$3,225 to salaries, $47 in Medicare, and $452 into PRS. And that is the 1043. What is that one?
Alan Irie.
There it is, yep, Alan Irie Fund. We have way too many funds.
Yeah.
And I have a request from Mike Dell, additional $43.48 in his other expense. Just got done saying.
Let's hold off a minute, Sheriff. This is just for the record. Recorder
You know,
Dell's asking for $43.
Yes,
I'm just saying.
the Recorders Association has increased his fee, and it was not notified until after the first of the
I'm
year.
gonna have Mike Dell hold a seminar.
Yeah.
We hear from you twice a year.
I know.
And when we do, it's your $43.
Okay.
Mike, we love you. Yeah. Okay, good. You gotta have a little fun, right, Sheriff?
Absolutely.
So I have a resolution authorizing the fund transfer be made to the capital improvement fund. This is moving the $750 out of our transfers out line into the 1215 capital improvement transfers in line. I have a
There's 3 resolutions to move that money.
Yes, there is. One is the putting the money into our transfers out to the general fund, and
Yeah.
then we do the transfer to move that from
Once
general
it's-
fund to the capital fund, and then to put it in the line, we have to
Then
do
we put
another
it
one.
in,
Yep.
and
It
so
seems like a
it's-
lot, but,
Okay,
yep.
that's just interesting.
3
See,
different
Mr.
steps.
Bridewell, 3 moves of that 750.
Yep.
Yeah, I understand it.
Yep.
It's interesting.
And we haven't been authorized to do any transfers in VIP, so that's why those are still on paper.
Okay, thank you.
I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the general fund. Is this a advance repayment, Kylie? From the, oh no, this is the psychotropic drug, transferring it from the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Fund to the general fund for that $19,947.26. I have a resolution authorizing a fund advance repayment from the Impaired Driving Enforcement Program, the 1116, to the general fund, advance repayment of $10,000. I have a resolution authorizing the updated Seneca County Prevention, Retention, and Contingency Plan on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Job and Family Services, effective February 10th, 2022. I have a resolution entering into an agreement with DLZ for the engineering services. This is that 4th contract for the broadband, their portion of that, and their total is on here somewhere. Is maybe.
It's part of that 90, right?
Yeah, it's part of that 90. It must be on one of the exhibits, and I don't have the exhibits. Do you remember what that was, Kylie, offhand? No? Okay, I'll pull it. That is part of that 90,000 we put in place. So I'll pull that. And I do have one that I didn't get on the agenda. is, for your consideration, is accepting a bid from Studer Obringer and entering into contract pending prosecutor's approval for the Seneca County facade and ADA project at the CSB building. So they've gotten the contract to us, over to Derek, so that was the lowest bid. It was $700,000. We had our engineer look it over to make sure, you know, because the bids, we had two pretty close bids and then two much higher bids, and they've gone through it, and they're comparable, they're just different.
Okay.
Difference in cost, so I needed to add that one if you guys are okay with that.
What was the timeline as far as them getting started? I cannot remember.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, John isn't here yet.
He said hopes it starts in the spring.
Yes,
That
but
was
I'm
a
trying to
hope.
think
He
if it
didn't
said.
guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm thinking the contract said 90 days to start, but they want to go ahead and get the product ordered because, as everybody knows, products is getting, so,
Okay, so we're adding that in?
yep, if that's okay.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have a couple of points of clarification. We talked about the folks retiring at Juvie.
Yes.
And do we accrue for that? I mean, I guess a bigger picture, countywide, do we accrue for people that are retiring that we may owe them sick days and vacation days and?
As a whole, we do not.
Okay.
I know Juvenile and Probate Court with some additional funds that they have with grants.
Right.
They do. Some departments will let us know ahead of time that year, but the law does allow, we set up a separate fund for that, but we have not done that yet, so.
Maybe we
it's-
should look at
Something you want to look at? with-
Yeah,
with Jamie working
it could be a significant number, that's why.
Yeah, we had talked about that quite a few years ago, because I think the Board of Elections had a pretty good turnover,
Yeah.
and it ended up being like a $40,000 general fund.
We had
hit that we
yeah,
weren't
right.
expecting.
And I think we've had it with emergency management services too, a couple of other areas that were
I like
significant
it.
hours.
Let's look
But
into
we
it.
always look at
That's
it.
good thinking.
Secondly, Jay, obviously never asked for more than he needs, but it's odd to me that they would need a breathalyzer at juvenile probate.
Juvenile
What would
probate?
What would they use a breathalyzer for at juvenile probate?
Well, I mean,
For a lot of times if the, parents or, somebody's in the, for there for a meeting or whatever, they suspect that, or part of their probation or something like that.
I got you, okay. So don't show up to court drinking.
Yeah, please don't.
Okay,
So this will be in the courthouse.
Yeah.
Chambers. Okay.
and then the 750, are we real specific about that's also for not only the building but land purchase?
because we don't know the exact amount, it was just $750
For the project?
for the project.
that-
We may need
that
more,
includes
we
land.
may
That
not.
includes
Clear that
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
point.
All right.
So that's our budget for the project. And
Yep.
we'll talk a little bit more about that at 11, right?
And hopefully we kind of use it up to on that, because it's possible
That's right.
some other money will come in.
Sure.
Okay,
That's good, I agree with you.
okay.
Yeah, this is just
You
kind of
do-
setting it aside.
Do you have any comments on anything, questions? You good? Okay, so we do have a motion?
I'll move for approval of the new business, including the supplemental appropriations and the resolution.
Second Commissioner Kirchner's motion?
Okay, first and second, roll call?
Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes. Nice job, Steve.
There's a lot today.
So we're doing well on time. Jimmy, we're gonna go to public comment, and I think before we open up the phone lines, does anyone in the audience like to speak? If you do, you're welcome to come up, just introduce yourself. And Adam, you good? I don't wanna pick on you, but I'm just looking out there. Everybody okay? Mr. Smith? Okay. Good? Jimmy?
Yep, I don't see anybody saying anything in the chat, but if you do want to come forward during the public comment period, you can do that now.
So I think, run this by the two commissioners, it's 10:44, we're doing well. We're gonna go into executive session, and we'll be back. We'll adjourn the meeting, take a 5-minute break, and then we'll start up again. It looks like we can start at 11, we should be in good shape, and maybe a little before, and we'll go into our capital discussion. Okay, so I need a motion to go in executive session.
I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session
For the purpose of,
for the purpose of, was it?
Property
acquisition?
acquisition.
Property acquisition.
second.
And we're right on time at 10:45. We have a first and a second. Do we need a roll call or? Yep,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuck?
Yes.
yes.
Commissioner Perry?
He's already there. You want me to wheel you down?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back. Let's go live.
Okay, so I'll move that we come out of executive session back into regular session.
We're live.
Yep.
I will move we come out of executive session back into regular session.
Second.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Chef?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes, okay, we're back from executive session. No action was taken. Meeting adjourned. Okay, so let's pass out,
We'll have to go back into a work session.
we are gonna go
because
back
still-
in, before we do, let's pass out the sheriff's
All right.
worksheets, because we'll go with you first, if that's fine, you don't have to hang out.
You want me to pass stuff out?
Talk about your stuff
Okay.
first.
Okay, Tony, you already got one, right?
Might as well help out.
I
The
do.
sheriff's?
Yeah. I wrote on it. This was from,
A bit, not much.
Is that the old one? Or is that the new one?
well, I don't know, if I don't, you tell me, and then
Okay.
Tyler.
Sheriff, you sent me an additional
It's
piece.
the same as this one, but in a different format.
Okay, all right. So then we'll just use the,
Yeah.
Okay,
Spreadsheet.
this must be, Tyler needs, we're gonna give him these?
yeah, do you want those before we go
Wanna
to
do
sheriff?
First? Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
thought
good.
that's what you said.
Okay,
Gonna
I
do the
did,
sheriff
yeah.
first.
Okay, all right. So, Jimmy, we're gonna have a formal meeting to have a work session, right? Okay. We're good? All right, well, we're back. I'd like to officially call a meeting at 11:08 to order for a Seneca County work session, Thursday, February 24th. And we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Here.
Commissioner Chef?
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes, here.
Okay, so the purpose of this meeting is to discuss capital projects and potential ARP uses for our ARP money. We've invited the sheriff in first, and so I'm going to turn the floor over to you, and then we'll kind of have a conversation.
So based off of our meeting just a couple weeks ago, short weeks ago, we had some projects that last year were gonna be covered under the grant that we were hoping to get. So we did have some shovel-ready projects from last year. And you asked us to come give you some workable capital project list for the next 2 years, this year and next year. So that's what we presented today. It's not an all-inclusive list that you wanted because of the time frame, but also getting the quotes around and that we already didn't have, and trying to get updated quotes that we did have from last year because of materials, supplies, and everything. Almost everybody that we contact are working on that, so across from some of the columns, you'll see in the rows, waiting for a quote, or need a quote, because in a 2-week time span, you know, they just weren't able to get to us to give us a quote. If they gave us a quote last year, we did put that down there, but just bear in mind that it may go up a little bit when they give us a new one based on material costs. Almost all of them that we talked to said the labor is gonna stay the same, it's just that, like stainless steel, the price last year is a lot different than it is this year, when we're talking about the showers and stuff like that. So we kind of broke it down into the areas of the jail, the office, or both things that are together. Again, not a comprehensive list, but stuff that we had from last year that we wanted to get done, and the grant just didn't come through for us, but are still on the list waiting to get done. Do you want to go through them line by line?
Yeah, just a little preface, a statement and a question. So these are one-time requests outside your budget.
Correct.
That we talked about. And you had a,
Minus software, correct? One-time cost minus the software?
Oh yeah, there are some annual costs if you have software interfaces for either the existing stuff or new software interfaces for the jail package or an employee program package or something like that. That would be would increase our software maintenance fees.
okay, that's a good
That's
question.
in the third column.
And
Yes.
we've had that. Okay, so the next thing is, you had a list that you were moving
Working
around
on.
with 1.2 million on it.
Yes.
And you've completed a few of those. So
Yes.
whatever, so that's part of this, okay? then when we met and we went over, Stacy, remember Lex, you turned over, you know, 100, I added up 135,000 worth of things that needed to be done. Is that in here?
Yes.
Okay, so that's all part of this.
inclusive in
I got it,
yes.
okay. And, good, yeah, so go ahead, take it from
So,
there.
so at the top of the list there is our jail camera system. The existing camera system that's in there is not sufficient. It's 25 years old. There's areas that are not covered, obviously as the expansions went on and over the years, the 2.5 decades that they've been open. That's an ongoing thing. The project was started last year, and they ordered the parts and everything, and so they just came in January to re-review all the areas that they were doing, and they are putting the roadmap together, and as we speak, that project is ongoing. So that money was quoted last year, and obviously having to wait till now, it went up a little bit. I think the original quote was 80
We
something.
signed the contract, so
Yeah.
that 91,000 is what we signed.
Correct, yeah.
So,
So that's-
Stacy, just for, so Sheriff, let's go through these, I won't interrupt you.
Okay.
But in the end, and I see there's a few things that are labeled 22, 23.
Yes.
But looks
That-
like you may have to circle back.
Well,
And like
that-
you could maybe put some money aside. but-
Yeah, that's a hard to get, because
Okay,
those are what to do this year and what to do next year. Some can be done this year, but the ones that need a quote or whatever, we have to wait to find out, are they gonna be able to get those materials this year, or is that a project for next year? So some of this stuff,
Okay.
we won't know until we get those actual quotes in. Can they get like stainless steel? Are they gonna be able to get the full amount of the stainless steel in here for us to replace all the showers?
fair enough.
Or they'll say, well, we can't get it till December. Well, then that's gonna be a 2023 project.
Okay.
So in fairness, we weren't able to put whether it's a 2022 or a 2023 project or anything.
Thank you.
No problem. So that leads us into the next one. Waiting on an updated quote for the materials. Last year, the quote was just under 12,000, 11,573. That's gonna replace all the stainless, or replace the showers that are in the pods with stainless steel stuff, which is easier to clean, doesn't mold, and helps us with our inspections. John's Welding gave us a quote on that to install it. That's Bishop's, who's going to replace all the urinals, all the toilets, and they will install the stainless steel once they're manufactured into the specifications that are needed for each of the areas. The jail door locks, several of them need to be replaced, and the price quote that we got is just under about $1,000 a piece. And there was about 13 that needed to be replaced, so that's that quote of $13,960. Waiting on quotes for some of our outer metal doors over the 26-year period. The bottoms of them were the weather, whether it's snow that got piled up against them or whatever, it's rusting away, so we need to replace those doors. We're waiting on a quote for that. Eclipse and other quotes coming for our window tinting on the inside in all the jail areas so that the prisoners can't see out but we can see in. Needs to be quoted for that, waiting on that one. In the grant, we had a complete rebuild and of the control room and the booking room. That was several of the big expenses that was gonna be in the grant. Now, we're not asking for the same amount. We're trying to scale those down a little bit and just do some surface fixes in there, you know, not a full gut from the ground up or anything like that. Waiting on quotes for both of those as well. More along the lines of new equipment, new safety, plexiglass, stuff like that, that was never there before. With our new conversion that we just went to live on Monday with the jail soft package, there is an interface that's called Vine. It's the victim's assistance, kind of, if you're a victim of a crime or violence, domestic violence or something like that. You can get updated information on any of the inmates in our jail through this interface, which then takes a lot of the burden off of us, having to notify those victims of when their court dates have changed and everything like that. So that's one of the interfaces that we're asking for the new software that's back there, that goes hand in hand with our sheriff's app. We'll be able to, within the next month, list all our inmates online and be able to provide that transparency to the public, who won't have to call out to find out if they're, family or whatever, when their court date is and what were they booked in on, and all that information is listed there for the public.
Was this the phone app thing? This not?
Yeah, it's listed on the back page there.
Yeah, I got it, okay.
Guard One is a jail cell logging system. It's $21,594 for initial installation of it, and then it's $5,000 a year for the software maintenance on it. What that does, right now we're paper logging everything. When we have 10-minute suicide watches, when we have to do our hourly checks, everything is paper logged. And there's human error that's involved in that. This takes the human error portion out of it, time-stamped, dated. They put metal discs on each of the cell areas, throughout the jail areas. Wherever we want to log, they get a metal stick that charges every shift, multiple of those, and then when they're doing their checks, they grab that and they tap that to the metal disc, time-stamped and logged that was done. There's no way around that system. So you have to touch that to that disc. So we know physically they checked on each of those cells, each of those inmates, each of those 10-minute, because it warns them, when the 10-minute is coming, approaching. Those are state basic minimum standards and federal ICE standards that we have to comply to. And when you go beyond those 10-minute things, you get gagged for those things. So having those automatic audit trails it's a huge liability reducer for us for insurance purposes and stuff, especially if you have an incident. You can go to the electronic logs and not the paper logs. And so for record retention, all that stuff, it's all electronic. We're having the Buckeye IT check through all our jail computers. They're very, old, several years old, more than that. A lot of them are slow, so they're either updating them or checking to see if we need new ones. We're waiting on a quote for that. There's some J&L mechanical issues with all our air handlers, boilers, all this stuff from last year that's we didn't get to. All the fixes are put into this year. Those what all those prices are right there. The $37,000, the $40,000, the $44,000, the coils for $6,500. This isn't preventative maintenance. These are all the updates and upgrades that are needed to those systems that they gave us the quotes last year. We didn't get to them because those were going to be included in the grant, and we never got to those.
Just to reiterate, the 2022, 2023, 2024, they are all for the same quote. It's for the building automation. They told me that if we do it in 2022, it'll be the $37,117. If we wait till next year for the 2023, it will go up 10%. So that's that price, and an additional 10% for the following.
You don't add all those together. If we do it this year, it's $37,000. If we wait till next year,
so one of those. It just depends on which year you're going to pick to go with it. That will be the price to look at.
Sorry, thank you for that correction there.
Good. Okay.
Yes. He just emailed me during the meeting, and I sent it to Stacy to add to this list afterwards or whatever. The preventative maintenance costs for all these different equipment yearly, and so she has that list. I don't have it in front of me, but that would add to, if we want to do preventative maintenance, which we should. They have it broken down into 4 times a year to look at the boiler, 4 times a year to look at the coil system, 4 times a year look at the mechanical equipment that's in the kitchen, and some of it's like, for the kitchen stuff, that's $1,400 a year, just for them to come in and inspect to make sure that all the wiring's good, everything's in place.
How many boilers are out there?
We have 1 boiler heater system for the whole jail area, but we have 8 air intake handlers. And those have a lifespan, I was told, of up to 40 years, but because they weren't preventative maintenance, that's what we did last year. We're at 26 years with using them, so we're still within that lifespan, and we probably helped. Well, not probably, we did help significantly by cleaning them and getting them maintained last year. But we have to keep up on that if we want to get to that 40-year mark. If we already haven't ruined some of them by not getting that preventative maintenance done, sort of like your engine. If you don't put the oil changes in and stuff, it could go bad. I asked the kitchen, other than the dishwasher we just replaced and the 2 washing machines we just replaced last year, What else did they need that was old and needed to be replaced? And they have 2 sets of sinks that are stainless steel in there that have seen their life limits in there. They're the original 26+ years. So altogether, the quote came in at just under $7,000 to replace a 3 set of sinks and then a 2 set of sinks.
Can we recycle those and put those in the shower?
Yeah, the stainless steel, the parts of it. Well, we probably could get metal, when we put in the metal dumpster, get something back to the general fund. Same with okay, so that ends the jail wants and needs and projections at this point. So then we go to the enforcement roadside front office side. Buckeye T needs to look at all the roadside or the front office computers. We're waiting on a quote for that. Klaus Electric for our dispatch. So part of that was done last year. The temporary move from the Zetron 37+ year old system that was transferred from the old jail system to the new jail system. So we upgraded to the Telex system last year already. But that's in a temporary holding pattern until we can get our Watson dispatch consoles, which is the line below where we're talking about right now. But Klaus Electric has to come in and do some electrical work for those consoles, make sure that those outlets are put on the generators, because we're moving it from the current room that it's in into a bigger room, the records room next to it. So some outlets have to be fixed, put on the generator, some other electrical work needs to be done. So that's that bill of $4,650 quote that we got. Underneath that is the Watson dispatch consoles. The FASU work that was done last year, that was included in that quote for them to come back and take the temporary placement of what we have right now and make it permanent into the consoles. The console is a contract that you have to sign. Once it's signed by you guys, then by the commissioners, then it takes 10 to 12 weeks to build down in St. Mary's, Ohio. So whenever it gets signed, we're waiting that 3 to 4 months before it becomes available. Once that's done, say April or May, then they will come install the consoles. Then we can get Vasu to install the equipment from the other room into this room. So it's kind of like chicken and egg thing. We need to get the Klaus in first, to do the electrical, then the consoles, and then Vasu to facilitate the transfer of all the
Sheriff, and you did try to get other quotes for
the console.
this, because we were looking for other quotes to
We
compare.
had that other one, which was like
Way
double
higher,
this
and the other one-
and then there was no other third quote that we
That
got.
couldn't get,
Yeah.
okay. They
And
sent
that's
you
based on
something.
the supplies and materials, the chain line. We put it out there and no one came back with a quote. And this one was probably half of what that the Vasu quote that we got in. And those are 2 side-by-side consoles, just like out at the EOC. So they're redundant systems, and they can lower and raise so that they can stand for part of their shift and have some health and welfare there as well. So they're not sitting for
I didn't know the whole thing could raise.
8 to 12 hours.
For that much money, it should raise.
What's that?
For that much
Oh,
money,
yeah.
it should raise.
Yeah, they have some internal
I saw a
lights.
picture of it, but that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, that 3D diagram that
Yeah,
they
the
have
whole
out there,
thing
yes.
can come up and down.
And then so this is another project that we started last year to give us the room in that new dispatch center that's going to be out there. Strategic Solutions out of Norwalk, I believe it is, had done work for the county already in collecting some of the scannable records retention stuff. And so the attic and that room, the records room, and every closet had all kinds of records retention stuff. So we've been able to shred under the record retention what we can, but there's stuff that jail records that go back that have to be permanent. So we had an original with Strategic Solution of I believe 100,000 to do the scanning. They've
Which
done
they
half
did
of it
already.
last year, and they're going to scan the rest of it this year. But then that was just the jail records. So anything else that we had needs to be done this year, and that's what those prices are right there. Or it doesn't have to be done this year. It can be spread out over a 4-year period. He's willing to work with us on that. Or if we want to, which we're storing it with them right now, at their secure facility, over in Huron County. And that costs us just under $2,000 a year to store it until we decide to scan it, do whatever we need to do with it, so.
And that software interfaces with the rest that we're doing
Yes.
for school?
Yes, it's the same interface that everybody else has, so that's why we kind of went with them, because so that it would be easy, simplified to look up the records there. We also are looking at a more secure system than we have in our exit doors that come in for the employees and for the staff. We have the metal push button, five digits, and you know, when you have employees leave, you have to reset them and everything, and we have a fairly consistent turnover throughout the year. So we're looking at a fob system, much similar like the city of Tiffin has, and it would work with the Justice Center and any other fob system. As long as we have the serial number, we can put those in, so it's not a separate system. We could update the Justice Center fobs as well to work at our facility, or vice versa. And that quote is $8,280, and that will get us about 8 doors initially, all our exit doors, plus dispatch, plus the property room and the armory. And then you can expand on that system and add doors as you need to down the line.
Was there a monthly fee for that one?
There was, but we didn't get, she asked them to give us one, a yearly fee, not a monthly, an annual software update fee, you know, on that, but he hasn't replied yet.
The one he sent me says the subscriber agrees to pay be save a sum of $80.44 per month for the terms of this agreement.
$80.44 a month?
$80.44 a month.
Okay, so that would be $800
$960
a year annual fee?
$1,000.
Sorry.
Yep. I finally found it. I did have it. I found
Okay,
it.
yeah, we
That's
didn't
for
get
the
that,
fobs,
so.
the fobs.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Could I get a copy of that one, Stacy?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't match the one that he.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be the fobs, not an ID card, an actual just a thing you attach to your key ring. For the roadside also, you know, I didn't know if we put it in here or if it goes in a talk future down the road on our vehicles that were taken out of our budget. So you tell me, does it go here, does it go somewhere else?
I think it goes here.
Okay.
The budget, I think.
So,
right? You guys agree? Yeah.
We finally got our truck that we ordered last January, and it's being equipped right now. So that was we ordered in January. The other 2 that we ordered that you gave us 4 vehicles, or additional 2 vehicles, have still not been ordered from Ford. You know, they haven't been pulled to be done. But we were able to do some wheeling and dealing last year, and not only got 3 used vehicles, 1 from the Old Attica Police Department, 2 from the sheriff's, or 2 from the city of Tiffin, that they were rotating out, used ones. But we were able to get a Ford Explorer, a hybrid Ford Explorer, and a Dodge Durango. So we ended up with now, currently, 4 new vehicles from last year and 3 used vehicles. So you think we would be ahead? You're wrong. You know, we had several of them go down last year. We have one that we talked about at our meeting 2 weeks ago that hit a deer responding to an emergency domestic call at 70 miles an hour, caused $10,000 worth of damage to that car. It's sitting, waiting to decide what we're gonna do with it. I don't wanna put $10,000 into a 2015 Dodge Charger that has 165,000 miles on it or something like that. And so to keep getting ahead of what we told you last year of the 60% over 200,000 miles, we would need 4 vehicles to get us at least ahead of where we're at. We thought some of the ones that we would rotate out would help with spares, but those are being used from the other damaged cars. Our maintenance budget, typically if you look back a couple years ago, was about $30,000 to $35,000. That's the oil changes, tires, any damage that gets done that needs to be replaced. Last year, I think we were 57,000, and this year we are already at, what are we at the maintenance budget already?
I'm sorry.
In our vehicle maintenance budget repair, what are we already at? It's just under 10,000 already, and that's the nickel and dime that we're getting with the parts that are going bad on these vehicles. The good thing is when you buy the new vehicles, you at least have the 3-year warranties on them, if something does go wrong with them. I don't foresee us, coming in 2023 and 2024 asking for 4 vehicles, whatever. We could probably go back down to the 2 vehicles.
What's in the, on an annual, normal budget basis, what do we allow for vehicles?
Well,
Two?
history, we did 2,
Historically.
and they were, it was about 60 grand, and they bought cars, not the,
So
Yeah.
historically, we budget for 2. The cost for the same 2, forget the 3 or 4, but just for comparison. You want
I'll just shut your door.
but that's gone up.
Yes.
Because things have gone up, plus the installation and all that, right?
Yeah, pretty much the sedans are phasing out, and you have to either buy an SUV or a truck. They're not making them for the police in the sedans type anymore. That if they do, they're more like the Tauruses or the Chevy ones that are too small with all the equipment in them and hauling prisoners and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay, and then so for last year, we okayed 4. Am I messing something? You got 3 last year and 1 this year?
And 1 in January that we didn't have the equipment money for. Yeah.
That's the 4.
Correct.
Okay. And so that's how you look at it. That's 2 more than we normally would have done. Is that one way to look at it? Plus it added a cost to it.
Yeah.
Now we're into this year, in your budget that you submitted, did you put anything in for equipment? Or
We did.
vehicles?
We put it in for vehicles and equipment, but to get to the budget commission number, those had to be stripped out.
We backed them out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, keep going. Got
So
it.
then the second page is the equipment for those 4 vehicles, at just around, comes in around 15,000 each, so times 4 is 60,000. And that's the company doing it, and all the wiring, everything, and if you ever have any issues, you go back to them. It's all warranted under one company. So we're not responsible for doing any of that work ourselves, which was done in the past, which is a liability. Our radar units, we had them calibrated and everything last year. A couple were put out of service. Some of them are 10+ years old, if not longer. They're harder to calibrate. So I put a request in for 10 radar units. They're about $2,369 a piece, so times 10, that's 20,000. We're looking for grants out there. Typically, you don't get them for the radar units. Down further, we have body cams in there that we're trying to get a grant for as well. But we have the prices in here in case we can't get them, in case we can't get the grants, because you wanted to see everything sort of like the projection / wish list / whatever.
What do the body cams run per camera, just ballpark?
It depends on if you're going for the low end or the high end or somewhere in between. My Chief Deputy Boyer did an extensive search on them last year when we were looking at the grants and stuff.
The biggest expense is the storage. They always push the cloud because then you got a residual cost every year. And it's just, the one project was for over a 5-year period, the one quote was $544,000. And we're like,
If you use
If you
their
do the
cloud
cloud.
system, yeah.
and some of them are even steering away from local storage because of the, the server, you gotta update the server, you gotta maintain the server. So we are still juggling, we're getting quotes from all different, if it's gonna be the cloud or it's gonna be storage. Obviously, on-site storage is cheaper, and, they always get you with that cloud, that residual cost.
And to get you in the door, the prices of the actual body cams are cheap, they're a few $100s a piece. It's the actual, like you said, the residual cost, it's the upkeep of the units itself. We can't just get, you only have 3 or 4 people a shift, so you only need to buy 4. No, because those battery lives are only 8 hours to 10 hours, so you can't turn over one that's been used all shift, so you need to double or triple that number so that they're charging for the next people to use. It's not a matter of if we need to go to this, it's when. In the city, we were able to not do body cams because we had the digital cameras for the cars. But that's not feasible for out at the sheriff's office. We have more cruisers than we do than the city. We have to have some type of video evidence. That's what the public expects nowadays. That's what the court expects. And so there has to be transparency and accountability both ways, on the public side, but also on the deputy side as well. So having those lessens our time for complaints that we get in, because we can just go right to the video and the audio and determine if it's founded or unfounded complaint. It also helps with the jury trials and the criminal charges that we're doing. So we're trying to get a reasonable, economical quote of which direction that we want to go to it. And if we can get a grant for it, that's all the better. There was a body grant available last year, but we weren't NIBRS and or Ohio Collaborative certified. We fixed those issues, and so we should be able to apply this year for that grant. But just like all grants, there's only so much that goes around. However, because we don't have any system out there, we're not upgrading or replacing a system, we're putting in a brand new program, we should be right at the top of the list. So we'll keep you updated on that.
Are those body cam technology things starting to come down? It seems to me that technology would.
Yes, I mean, you could buy them off of Amazon, you know, and the
Yeah.
car ones are even cheaper,
Yeah.
under $100, you know, you can get
You
for
think they
your
would
car.
get to the point where you could insert your cell phone
That's what I was just
and
thinking.
the software would be there?
It's close to that. It's close to that. We're actually doing that with, instead of installing a ruggedized Panasonic military grade laptop like we used to have to do in the cruisers to get the mobile technology in the cruisers at $5,000 a pop. There's a new that we're testing out right now. It's called a DeX system. It's a Samsung phone that slips into your charger in the car, goes to a dummy screen that's larger than this screen, and then it projects what's on the phone to that screen,
Yeah.
or just transfers that data. And now we have the in-car computer system instead of $5,000 for the laptop, and also paying for the cellular service for the GPS puck and stuff. It's all built into the phone. We get the phones replaced every year, and it's a $1,200 system versus a $5,000
Yeah, it just
system.
seems the technology.
So the technology is increasing there, but it also, you have to have the infrastructure in your county with the wire tower. So we're testing it out right now so that all the future vehicles that we get will go to the DeX system. And Phoenix, our computer system, allows that DeX system to work. DEX is what is the word to use it. This also, now we don't have to get digital cameras for all the officers or the deputies, because they'll be able to pull that out, take pictures at the scene of an accident, at a crime scene, put it in there, download those pictures straight in there. Right now, it's kind of a 4-step process. This would end up being a 1 or 2-step process. So we're testing that
What's that on
technology
the
out.
bottom of the back page where it says body cam, Motorola Solutions? Body, no.
That's what you just.
Yeah,
Motorola Solutions body cam, right? Yeah, that it's down further from where we're at right now, but that's what we're looking at the quotes and contracts right now.
Okay, and then I missed it. So what exactly does that do?
The body cams?
Yeah, because we don't have any, and we're researching it to
Correct.
this.
What we're
What's
doing
this?
is we're applying for grants at the present time, then we're also getting all the quotes in from different companies, because there's so many companies like Motorola, like
Yeah.
the one that you have there. We have Axon, we have Intrinsic. We're also collaborating with several other sheriff's offices and seeing what they're utilizing. And if they have already utilized it and put it into mode or into practice, is it working for them, especially
Yeah,
the same
that's good.
size sheriff's office. So that's just one quote of many that's coming
Yeah.
in, because.
We just wanted to give you an
everybody's jumping.
example.
I understand now. I was confused, but I get it.
And so it's
Thanks.
even worse because the back end of it, when anything becomes a public record, so then you have legal issues, you know, so you have to have somebody on your staff, or you can pay them to do it, and that bloats your
Well, I'm glad you're
quotes.
going
Yeah.
through what you're doing.
Well, one of the big things with the grants too is they'll give you the money to, start the program. But you have to establish that you have a program. Do you have money in place to keep on going with the program once the grant's done? And you have
Sure.
to give a projection to them, and that's what we're trying to figure out now is what type of a projection that we can give to them to show that we're
If the county goes forward with, because I know one of our capital is to get the server, the big actual server for the Justice Center. I talked to Jake numerous times that, one, it would allow all your data to get rid of your servers out there,
Correct.
be held up there. Would that, I mean, I assuming it would be plenty big enough.
It should
Would
be,
that help
yeah, they can either,
if they decide to go that way?
that would be a talk with Jake or Buck IT is, can they make a virtual server, carve that out of enough space, because you have to retain that records retention on those videos as well. There's certain things that you can let delete off in 60 days, 90 days, but there's other stuff that individually, like in the cruisers that we had at the PD, you can tag it, like this is a traffic stop, I'm writing a ticket on it, I'm gonna tag that and save that data beyond the 90 days. So it'll build up your server space fast. So we'd have to look at, like he said, take a look at a similar size sheriff's office, what they're using, how much space they're using every month, every year, and then get with Jake and try to do the geek part of it and how much we need to carve out.
Because, I mean, he's told me, I said, make sure this thing is big enough, because I don't want to have to come back at
I
any
think
time.
it's expandable too, right?
Yes.
We can add
Yes.
The virtuals.
It
trays.
should be able to put racks in there
Racks, yeah.
of hard drives. That's what we did at the city.
Yeah.
So jumping back up to the top of the list there, we had the quote last year for the concrete to be replaced. We actually lessened the footprint, which lessened the quote of what we want to do out there in the front area to make it handicap accessible, fix a lot of the crumbling issues that we had for wheelchairs and stuff out there. Should be able to get that this year, but because we got the quote late last year and they just couldn't do the work before winter hit. We're getting the quotes right now. Just this morning, they came and take a look at our front door. For whatever reason, when the building was built in '96, it's not handicap accessible. There's no button to press to open the doors automatically or anything like that. Yes.
I did speak with Grant Decker yesterday. He said that he'll stick with the 15 grand.
Oh.
So that is a good quote. We don't have to wait for an update price on that.
Good. And so they gave us, Klaus can do the electrical work for the handicap accessible doors. I'm waiting on a quote from them, but they referred us to King's Glass for the actual replacing of the doors, which aren't backwards compatible. And talking to John just before this meeting, he wants me to go take a look at the veteran service building out there. They have new doors that were just put in with the handicap accessible, touchless, wireless thing, so we're gonna go take a look at that.
Those three kind of go together, because you would have conduit, concrete, you would do some underground for the pedestal and everything. Would that be under the concrete?
No, the pedestal would be wireless.
It's all wireless.
So you don't have to go
now?
through the
Okay.
cement
You go out
blocks.
to the veteran services
Yeah.
or the other side of that building, and I believe
This
they
is
paid about
2022.
40,000 for those two sets of doors.
How much?
40,000.
40,000. To replace the two sets of doors?
20,000 for each.
Okay.
That
All right, so we'll go take a look at that and see if that serves our purposes. It should. I mean, that should be the latest technology that's available there, and going from non-handicap to handicap, I mean, we have to do it. I mean, it's ADA. I'm surprised that we haven't been complained about, which we did last January. We got an official complaint about it.
So when you say you're working on grants, I'm yielding over here to Commissioner Kirchner. We're gonna discuss the needs for with Plank Ditto. We have a little bit of a list, but if they have an appetite for ADA kind of things, are we gonna can we take some projects off here and talk about that at
Yeah,
one?
if we
If-
just
It
determine.
kind of works backwards, you know, here, or it works both ways. This is our wish list.
Right.
But then oftentimes the state says, these are the projects that they're hungry for.
Right.
So you have to kind of find projects that fit that.
I get it.
So we have to be ready both ways, or a combination.
Is GLCAP able to help us with any of these, or is that
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
save you a little workload so you can focus on other things and let
Okay.
the grant people find the grants?
Speak like a good board member.
Yeah.
GLCAP. Okay, keep going, that's good.
One of the other things that underneath the handicap front door access is several things I've noticed since taking office last year, that obviously we need LED lighting throughout the building to reduce our electrical costs. So those are some of the costs there that we got on some of the specific rooms in the hallways. Putting in some motion lighting so that when you leave a room, you know, the lights go off in the hallways, because the hallways right now have no switches to turn off the lights. So 24/7, all the hallways are running. So to be able to do some of that work, for the LED in the training room, the conference room, and all the hallways. Those are those prices that are there. Those aren't residual, one-time costs there. Same with all our ceiling tiles throughout the front office there. They're the older 25 plus year ceiling tiles. If there was damage in the past, a lot of them are stained, crumbling, because they're the old, even older than these ones. They're, you know, similar to these, but they're missing pieces out of them. They're crumbling, they're water stained, everything like that. So to upgrade the front office to a fiberglass insulated, so you'll have some value there, some soundproofing from the air units above, and also some the insulation at the top part of them will help reduce some of our heating and air costs as well. That's that cost there. Storage.
Is that for the whole,
the front office?
The square?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not the jail part, just the front office.
Yeah,
So strategic solutions again is on here. We have some storage stuff for up in the attic that we have some ICE documents that need to be stored long term. So that's just added in. It doesn't, I don't think it will increase beyond that for the storage area we got, because once they're scanning in some of the stuff, we're shredding the stuff that's being scanned in that's already in their storage area. So it's just kind of replacing what's already in the storage
So this will go away once we move
Yes.
forward with.
Once we move forward with scanning everything in, the storage thing, if we scan everything in that's in there, then we'll have no storage anymore, because there's no reason to store the stuff that's already scanned in. That'll be shredded. Lexipol is a system I talked about last year. It takes care of all of our policies and procedures. There's a one-time cost, and then there's a yearly software maintenance cost. Definitely a wish list item that if we can do it, great. Obviously, it needs about 6 months lead time to work on our policies and procedures to get them in there. Then it's maintained by them. The liability is on the company to make sure that anything new that comes down legislative-wise, if it's use of force, if it's a pursuit policy, if it's any type of employee policy that can generate a lawsuit, the onus is on them to get us those new legislation as quick as possible.
Can we ever share with Fostoria and Tiffin this kind of thing?
Policies and procedures for the
Yeah.
sheriff's office are different than both of the cities.
Yeah, even, okay.
City uses Lexipol, both the fire and police use Lexipol now.
But
There
the actual procedure would be different.
Yes, and we would have a jail side. The reason that's why the number's so high is we have a jail side that gets us automatically up to Ohio collaboration and certification based on just using their policies. And there's a roadside. So there's two separate components of the Lexipol software. This is a big number, and I actually kind of yelled out loud when I read the quote yesterday. So the duct system has never been cleaned out in our building, and so J&L turned us on to a company out of Toledo. So this is just one quote. So like the washer quote, we had the high number at first. We're going to get 2 other quotes if we can from other companies that do this type of work, industrial ductwork cleaning. To do all the whole square footage of all the ductwork, they gave us a quote of $176,000.
I jumped on my seat when I seen that last.
I did jump out of my seat when I saw that, and they heard me down the hallway. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" You know, that's a lot of money, but it's never been done, and this is just the first quote. So I'm hoping to get
Is that
2
the
other
same
quotes.
company that you got the quotes from for the
No.
other buildings? Different company,
CSB building was 35,000.
but not the same company?
No.
Okay.
And the RTA building was 25,000.
Okay.
Double check with them, maybe the 0 button got stuck on the keyboard.
I'm hoping, you know, but so that was just the first quote. Obviously, we'll go with the quotes from
Get
2
some
other
other
places.
quotes, yeah.
But, you know, I just wanted to give you the sticker shock that I got when I got the first quote on that
Oh,
one.
that doesn't start.
Yeah. And that's just one time, which should be good
That
for
was
10
effective.
years or something, but that's still
No
one
taser
time.
needed. Yeah, that
I think I
worked.
just came up with an idea for an invention, get one of those little Roombas that can go up there and do it or something. That's
Yeah.
it's a little steep.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't do the trustees through there, you know, and clean them and save the money there
Put a
either.
rope on each end,
Yeah.
push them through.
Push them through. The sheriff's app
Sorry.
is a
Depends on
residual.
their hairstyle.
What's that?
So it depends on their hairstyle, where they really would work.
That's right.
Bald
Full
guy
body
can't do
suit
much
with
good.
all the bristles on it. That is a residual cost for the sheriff's app, but it's already proven to be very effective for us on not only the transparency issue on the weather alerts and everything, got great feedback on that, but the number one most pushed on item is the sex offenders list, you know, to see who's in your neighborhood or anything like that. So there are stuff that we're adding to it, like I alluded to on the inmate stuff, once we get the software package completely up and running and have all our inmates transferred from our old software to our new software, which that wasn't a cost. We were already paying the maintenance fee for Phoenix up front, which included the jail package back in 2012. So we just have implemented that jail package as of Monday, which has been a long project, and the staff has been great on the training and everything to go to it. But to make it fully functional, you know, you have to add some bells and whistles to it with the Vine interface. The Sheriff's app is just another tool of transparency, of getting our information out there to the public. The CCW information is on there, the fingerprint information is on there, the sales, auctions and stuff information is on there, so it's been a boon for us. Shredding all the rest of the stuff that we found in the attic after the first sweep that went through, that can be shredded, of records maintenance, came to $4,000 with the strategic solution quote of that, and that would then make us paperless of all the stuff that's ever been stored at the sheriff's office that was brought from downtown and just pushed up into our attic. And the reason that we got rid of it is when we did the grant work last year, and we did a walkthrough with the architects, Mosier, the company that was going to, if we got the grant, help us with the stuff, the projects. They noticed cracks in the ceiling, the cement ceiling and stuff like that, and it really came down to it was used as a catch-all. And you wouldn't think paper would weigh that much, but when you start adding hundreds and thousands of boxes of paperwork up there, it was causing cracks, which caused the stains. And when the boil or the air take handlers would leak, they would come down through those microscopic cracks and then stain our ceiling tiles and stuff like that. So by getting rid of that, we've extended our life to the ceiling of the the existing attic infrastructure that's out there. The website update is, our website is kind of old, and so to get to future 21st century kind of technology that interfaces with our app, interfaces with our jail booking info, and to get along with the county theme that they got going with TSEP and everything like that, is a one-time investment of $10,000, and then there's a residual annual cost for maintenance of that website. Our UPS that controls our central server stuff that's out there, we got a quote on updating that because that's also beyond its lifespan, and that was $18,480 from Klaus. That would totally replace and upgrade the UPS Central. Now, we could probably get that down if we have a timeline on moving the vast majority of our server stuff out to the Justice Center. It would be a lesser unit that we would need. We wouldn't need this full power unit, so it might half that cost, or even reduce it even more than that. I don't know, because I don't know what would still have to stay out at our end, server-wise, versus what we could put out to Justice Center. I'm sure there's some stuff in dispatch that would need to stay out there. Another system that we looked at, we are currently doing an evaluation system that I brought out there last year. It's paper. There's a monthly blue book that consolidates all the yearly evaluation stuff. It's also an emergency warning system for if you have problem employees or whatever. It's called Guardian. Tiffin's going to it as well. The city of Tiffin, Chief Pauly, who's here in the back, has researched that, and we had a demo done for us as well. And it just kind of consolidates and puts everything into one place. And with 90 employees, you know, you don't want to lose anybody off the radar, especially if you catch it early enough. So it's not only can do your early warning system, but it can track performance evaluations, it can track award systems, you know, so that everything's in one place and you don't have paper files on employees anymore. It's all electronic and searchable by categories, by offenses, by discipline or rewards and stuff like that. So that system is $6,490 with a residual maintenance yearly software of $5,490 to keep that system going for 90 employees. It's based on how many employees you have. The body cam stuff we've already talked about. Again, we're going to try to, the chief is trying for the body cam grants again this year. Our intercom system went down for half of the jail area, and that's the individual intercoms that are in each of the cells. So when they're in there for overnight or whatever, if they have an emergency or they need to talk to the central guard, they can push that button and talk to them. They have them in all the pods as well, and half of them went down, and they were able to find a part on eBay to fix it. But it's an old system. That's the original system. So we're getting quotes from the current company, Torrance, but we're also getting quotes from a couple other different companies to replace and upgrade the system to modern technology that we don't have to go out on eBay and find a part for. Although we will be putting our dispatch center Z-Tron system out on gov deals in case there is another sheriff's office or police department that is on the Z-Tron system that needs parts once we go full to the dispatch center. Last, or almost last, I have another one written in here that my Lex gave me. Exterior lighting, there were some fixes that needed to be done outside that he wanted to upgrade to some LED switches and stuff like that. He just handed me that. That's $670. And then because we're going paperless back in the jail area, to stop the scanning for future stuff from this company, in the future, if we get scanners at each of the booking stations and in near all the computers back there, once they get that paperwork in, they can, that comes in from other outside agencies that hand you paperwork and paperwork that we can't generate electronically, it can be scanned into that inmate's file, and then that paperwork can be shredded because now it's permanently attached to either the stuff that's in the scanning system or in our new Phoenix system. So to get scanners at each of those 10 desktops would be $3,500. That's a one-time cost.
Did?
Yeah.
Is that the one we just did?
Yeah, and that would be a one-time cost, and then would actually eventually lead to us not having to send all that paperwork to that scanning company for them to scan in. We're doing the work ourselves, and by training them how to scan it into the existing searchable system that's already there. So they have a two-price model. You can send them, you can collect the paperwork weekly, monthly, yearly, send it to them to scan it and pay them, or we can do it ourselves. So if we pay this one-time cost up front, we're doing that work for them. And that's it.
Deep breath.
Yeah,
That's it.
I'm glad I drank a couple Mountain Dews this morning. So again, to be able to get you what we can do this year, what we can do next year, I can get you that at a later date once we get all the quotes in and we find out from those companies, what is your timeline? Like you asked earlier, can this be done this year? Is this stuff that you expect that the supply chain is going to slow you down? It's a fall project or it's a January project or whatever. So once we get that into place, I can give you a more accurate picture on the timeline and those additional numbers for those items.
Okay, Mr. Chair, respect the people's time that are here for a new meeting. I will move that we go into recess.
So we have, is Mr. Ditto, that's
just an informational meeting, that's not part of our meeting.
So we're going to talk up front here a little
After
bit.
with him, we'll come back to this.
I guess we were under the impression that
Schedule for
the
another
meeting
day.
would end right now. So obviously, your presentation is well done and needed. So we have a couple choices. We can come back and re-adjourn, or we can take this up next. I think we might want to every meeting talk a little bit about this till we catch up.
Yeah, we wouldn't have, well, we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time in advance to do more tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow?
I mean, we wouldn't be able to go in session because of notifications.
Right, we have to have 24 hours.
If we did it, I would
notice.
come back after Ditto left, but otherwise I think we just add a little bit next week.
All right, so I would move for adjournment of this meeting then.
And then
It's just on the agenda for next Thursday to finish up, or Wednesday, or whenever you
And
think.
then we wrap this up next week, and then we just go into what we were gonna talk about, maybe next week for an
Yeah.
hour. Okay,
Fine.
we can do that.
It's good,
Yeah.
it's good.
Okay, so,
Commissioner Kirschner.
okay, so we have a motion for adjournment, and I don't think we need a roll call, right?
Nope.
No, okay, meeting adjourned.